Want to call the meeting to order. First item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Staff recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one recognition today. Where's Arlie? Arlie, stand up. I would like to congratulate Arlie Millen. He's the Senior Manager for Facilities Maintenance, who recently received the International Facility Management Association's Sustainability Facility Professional Credential. This certification is recognized as a standard for focusing on ways to reduce energy consumption, reduce waste, and to streamline processes to gain production efficiencies while reducing our overall environmental footprint. So just a little bit. So hey, congratulations on
Recap.
Nothing on the recap.
Nothing on the recap. Is any public comment on the consent agenda? Not seeing any public comment. Are there any items that any of the members would like to pull? No. I'll entertain a vote at this time. A motion?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Is there anyone from the public that would wish to comment once again on the consent agenda before we vote or have a discussion? Not seeing any, bring it back to the board. Is there any discussion on any of the items? Not seeing any. All in favor of the item?
Aye.
Item passed unanimous. Moving on to administrative agenda.
Thank you, sir. Item 11. I'll have Dave Amdor come up, and I believe we also have Bill Case here to speak as well. He'll introduce the item regarding our bond series.
Thank you.
While we're waiting, good afternoon, Dave Amdor, Seafoam for the record. That's nice. Item number 11 is requesting approval of Lee County Airport Revenue Bonds Series 2026 at an amount not to exceed $875 million. 1 second here. A little bit of a delay. Technology. There we go. All right, we were last in the bond market in October 2024 to do the first borrowing to fund terminal expansion phase 2, Concourse E. Now we're coming back to the board for approval to raise the additional funds needed to finish that project off, as well as raise additional funds for terminal expansion phase 1 and to build a new public safety building. As part of this bond deal, we also have the opportunity to refund one of our existing Series 2015 bonds that are now callable and can be refinanced in order to reduce overall debt service costs. So as the slide states, this bond issuance achieves 2 strategic objectives. It funds 3 major capital improvement projects, and it refunds an existing bond series to capitalize on an interest savings opportunity. This slide provides an overview of the Series 2026 bonds, their uses, amount, tax structure, and other features. So I'll quickly touch on the bond issuance and our plans, and then I'll hand it over to our municipal advisor, Bill Case from PFM. He'll go over some specifics, talk about market conditions, affordability, and the impact of the bond issuance to our overall debt profile. So it's important to note that the not to exceed $875 million that was shown on that last slide, that factors in all uses of the funds associated with the issuance. So that's the deposit to the project fund for construction. It's the deposit to fund our required reserve. That's the cost to issue the bonds, it's capitalized interest, and any other ancillary costs. So those estimated amounts are broken out on a later slide that Bill's going to show you. And then before I move off of this slide, I'd just like to make the statement we always make that these bonds, like every other airport, is funded by user fees. No local taxes go toward funding these bonds or this airport. So on slide 4, we show the funding plan for terminal expansion phase 1. In March 2025, the board voted to proceed with the project redesign and to increase the project budget to $678 million. We always plan to be in the bond market for terminal expansion phase 2, Concourse E, around this time, spring of 26. So the timing works out nicely to raise the additional funds to complete phase one as well. We're planning on construction proceeds of about $250 million out of this bond series to go towards the completion of phase one. On slide 5, we show the funding plan for terminal expansion phase 2, Concourse E. So as mentioned, a second bond issue was always planned for this project in order to arrange the funding in line with our overall spending on the project. We were in the bond markets last October to raise approximately $525 million to get that project kicked off. That's the sum of the 334 and the 191. So now we'll be back in the market in February 2026 to raise an additional $327 million to finish the project off. So this will complete the funding needed for the total project budget of just over $1 billion. And on slide 6, we show the funding plan for the new public safety building, which will be the new home for the Airport Police Department. This is a single-story building that's approximately 21,000 square feet and is located southwest of the terminal building along Air Cargo Lane. The construction on the project began earlier this year and is scheduled to finish in fall 2026. The project has a total project budget of a little over $18 million, with the majority of the funds coming from this bond issuance. So as mentioned earlier, we had the opportunity to refund our Series 2015 bonds, which have an outstanding principal balance of roughly $33 million. So we typically target a minimum of 3% net present value savings if we're going to consider whether to move forward with the refunding. And based on current market conditions, this refunding is estimated to have net present value savings of approximately 15%. So it's a great opportunity for us to take advantage of some interest savings while we're already going to be in the market. And then on my last slide here, I want to take a moment to point out the excellent team of industry-leading advisors and legal counsel that we have working on this bond issuance. This same team has been in place the last few times that we've gone out to market, and we've been very successful at developing affordable long-term financing plans for our airports while structuring our debt to maximize the marketability of our debt to investors. So hats off to our excellent business partners. And then with us today, we got Bill Case from PFM. He's our municipal advisor. Bill's located out of our Tampa office, and he's been working on our account for a number of years. So he's going to walk you through our debt portfolio, talk a little bit about the specifics of the bond issuance, and also touch on affordability. Bill?
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the committee. We're going to start off looking at the overview of the authority's long-term debt portfolio. Currently 4 series of bonds outstanding, approximately $863 million. The scheduled debt service for next year is $62 million on those series of bonds. All fixed rate bonds structured for level annual debt service, so it's a pretty conservative debt structure. These are some of the details of the estimated uses of this bond issue, totaling about $718 million. Including the project fund deposits of $594 million, and then the escrow deposit, which would be for the refunding of the Series 2015 bonds. There will also be some capitalized interest on this bond issue, as well as a funding of the debt service reserve fund, and then the various costs of issuance, including the underwriter's fees. To the right, you can see the all-in cost. That's kind of the all-in rate that we're estimating right now, about 4.71%. So in terms of market conditions, rates have been coming up in late spring with the news of the tariffs, but we've seen since late summer rates have been coming down, which has been pretty favorable. I think as the economy's kind of digested the tariff news and impacts, as well as expecting lower, the rate cuts from the feds, we're seeing pretty favorable market conditions. As for airport bond issues in general, there's been very high volume of airport bonds have been issued this year. All have been well received. I think there's a lot of high interest, high demand for airport bonds right now by investors. And now this is the overview of the debt portfolio following the Series 2026 bonds. There'd be approximately $1.5 billion outstanding. The debt service would be $80 million. That includes the new bond issue. I'd say this is in the range of comparable sized airports right now that are undertaking major capital programs. We're seeing a number of airports in that range where, you know, the outstanding debt amounts are $1 to $2 billion, so. Here's some of the, you know, the financial metrics that we're projecting over, you know, the 7-year projection period. This takes into account the, you know, the new bond issue, the airline cost per enplanement going to about $20, and then with debt service coverage in the 1.45 to 1.47 times range. I do want to note that the new airline agreement has a provision in it that, you know, the protection that the airlines are guaranteeing 1.4 times coverage. Again, these metrics are in line with other airports with major capital programs. You know, the authority, when they undertook this capital program, put together a financial plan that, you know, that looked at being able to fund the program, keep rates affordable to the airlines, but also maintain strong financial metrics so that supports the strong ratings that they have today. This is the overall financing schedule. The authority is scheduled to be with the rating agencies January 28th to 29th. We are looking to receive credit ratings early February. Once we receive those, we will put the preliminary official statement out on the street to the investors. That's the offering document. The authority is scheduled to price and sell the bonds the week of February 23rd. And then that will follow a bond closing week of March 9th, where the authority will receive the funds. That's all I have. If be happy to answer any questions.
Could you, go ahead.
Yeah, you made the statement that airport revenue bonds are pretty popular with investors. Why is that?
I think for the most part, the investors are seeing that there's quite a bit of resiliency in airports, and you know, especially following COVID, they were able to see that the airports, you know, financial operations continue to be very strong. They're confident on the management of, you know, how airports are run, and frankly, they're probably thinking they get a little bit extra, you know, interest rate by purchasing airport bonds, you know, compared to bonds that may be a higher rating.
Thank you. Could you refresh my memory? What are our current ratings?
Current interest rates?
Yeah, no, ratings on.
Ratings. The ratings are A2 and A by S&P and Fitch, and then Kroll Bond Ratings has the authority at AA minus. Very strong ratings for an airport.
What was the second one?
Fitch. Fitch Ratings has A, which is the same rating as the Moody's at A2. They use a little bit different nomenclature, but okay.
Good.
So when you talk refunding, is basically a refinance of
Yes.
existing bonds?
It's refinance those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just different terminology in our different worlds.
Yeah.
But my question is, when it's a refi and then you have some new money in it, are they only charging you fees on the new money and not on the refi money? Because you've obviously already paid fees when you got those bonds the
In
first
terms
time.
of the fees,
Of whoever you run the bond through.
there are actually still fees associated with that are paid to the underwriters because they're selling essentially it's a new bond issue that they're using the proceeds to refinance the existing debt. So it's bonds that still, need to be sold out to the market, and so there's fees associated with that, yes. And those fees are taken into account into the savings numbers that Dave went over earlier, so yes.
Is there an industrial development authority? I mean, is there an authority that you have to run these through for airlines?
In terms of the bonds, they're issued straight through the county.
Through Lee County?
Yeah, there isn't a separate,
Okay.
conduit authority that, issues.
I'm just wondering then, so they don't come through our Lee County Industrial Development Authority?
No, I don't believe so, no.
No, I can tell you they don't, because
Yeah,
I sit on that
yes,
board. So I'm
But
just,
they're issued by the county, yes.
They are,
Yes, and
okay.
they're issued as airport revenue bonds secured by the revenues, from the airports.
Okay.
Once again, who do you represent?
I represent PFM Financial Advisors. We serve as a financial advisor to the authorities.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Any comments from the public concerning this item?
One more. Who's buying these bonds?
It's predominantly institutional investors, there's bond funds, insurance
Not
companies.
individuals, investors, but.
They're available to investors, to retail investors. It's probably a pretty small percentage of orders that come in from retail investors, but yes, they are available to.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And
What's the motion?
We've asked for, the motion is to approve the issuance of the bonds.
Okay,
Not to
the
exceed.
issuance of it.
Yeah. And we've asked for public comment, no public comment on the item. Bring it back for a vote. All in favor of the item?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote on the item. Next item.
Go ahead.
All right, administrative item number 12 is the annual recalculation of airline rates and fees that we do every year in accordance with our long-term airline use and lease agreement with our signatory carriers. I'll just give a quick recap of the year and how the settlement ended up. This was the first year under the new 10-year agreement. It had a number of changes to how we bill the airlines. So as a reminder, everything we bill the airlines throughout the year is based on estimated budget figures. So at the end of the year, we take all of our actual figures for revenues, expenses, and airline activity and compare them to what we had budgeted. So in most years, our expenses come in under budget and airline activity is right at what we project or a little over. So typically, we refund the signatory carriers for the overpayment in most years. So this year was a little unique due to some of the changes with the new airline agreement. So when everything shook out, the signatory carriers owe us a little over $1 million. The other piece of the year-end calculation that we do is the revenue sharing of the airport's net revenues, which you can also think of as our profits for the year. So under the new agreement, the airport keeps 70% of those net revenues, and the airlines will receive 30%. So total net revenues were $30.7 million for fiscal year 2024-25. So the Port Authority retains $21.5 million, and the airlines will receive $9.2 million for the 30% share. So just as a reminder as to why we revenue share, it's part of our negotiated business deal. And in return, we get a safety net from the airlines guaranteeing that we meet a healthy debt coverage level that we need with all the construction going on. And Bill mentioned that earlier about that 1.4 coverage protection. So they pay a little more than they normally would to keep our revenues up to maintain that higher coverage. So just to wrap up the item, after board approval, we would cut the checks to the airlines totaling $8.1 million. That factors in the $1 million that they owe us from the settlement and the $9 million we owe them from the revenue sharing. So all in all, the airlines should be pleased with the year, and our overall cost per enplanement was below budget, and our revenue sharing amount is more than what we projected. So it's also important to note that our airport consultant, Rocondo Associates, reviewed all the data, they advised us on any suggested changes, and they signed off on the final amount. So this whole process goes through a detailed review. Any questions that I can answer on the settlement process,
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
So these dollars come from what we call our enplanement amount, right?
Yep, normal operations.
Okay, so when we refund 30 million, what does that make our actual, for the year now, certified enplanement number?
What was the total cost per enplanement? Mm-hmm. In front of me. There we go. Signatory CPE ended at $11.94, so that compared to the budget amount of $12.47.
Very good, thank you.
What's it compared to last year?
It was a little bit lower, I don't know off the top of my head. Pete.
$4.50. It was our best year last year.
Yes, so you'd say $4 what?
50 cents.
It was low last year. So that reflects, the increase reflects all the debt that came on, started to come on this year. So that's why you see the jump in cost.
Any further questions? Entertain a motion?
I almost hate to ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Are we okay financially? I mean,
Yes, we had this,
and are the airlines, let me rephrase that a little bit. Are the airlines aware of this number and happy with it?
yes, years of planning, and we've shown them projections from years ago. We give them updates every year, sometimes more than once a year. We do them every May, and the figures that I'm showing here are lower than the figures that I showed them last May. So we're in good shape, they're aware, and as Bill pointed out, there's a lot of airports right now our size that have a hefty capital program. It's just kind of the life cycle of airports, so.
Yeah.
Fair question.
I just wanted to get that on the record, though.
I did ask that
Thanks,
question, Scott. I did ask that question, are the airlines happy with this?
Yeah.
Because this was the first year under this 10-year lease,
Yeah.
so he says, yeah.
Call for a motion on the item.
I'll move it.
We got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Is there any comment from the public on this item? Not hearing any comment from the public, we'll bring it back for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried unanimous. And the next item is the executive director.
I have one item, sir. And I would like to wish Ms. Underhill a happy retirement. After 30 years with the Lee County Port Authority, you will be sorely missed. And more importantly, thank you for 30 years of dedication to Lee County. So congratulations.
She's too young, and I got her first dibs if she wants to work.
I think she has vacation.
I know.
Port attorney?
No items, Mr.
No
Chair.
items. Any comments from any of the board members?
No, sir.
Not hearing any comments, or any public comment on any other matters? Not hearing any public comment?
Move we
I
adjourn.
want to say thank you very much for Emily for all your many years of service, and it's been a pleasure working with you. And I hope you do very well in your retirement.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to all.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to all. The meeting is now adjourned.
Very good. Emily, where are you gonna ski? Where are you skiing?